It's be broke, get woke, ultimately croak. Razor Fist's theory confirmed again as Warner Brothers Discovery shuts down Rooster Teeth. Before we get into this, I'd like to ask you please hit that subscribe button, hit that bell for notifications so you don't miss any of our future videos here at the Trent Report. 4 years after Rooster Teeth said that they are all for social justice, and if you aren't about it, go take a hike. Their entire company has been shut down. So back in August 2020, this is what Rooster Teeth posted on Twitter. This is your regular reminder that we happily and proudly stand for social justice. We have no tolerance for racism, sexism, or harassment of any kind. If you're not with us, this isn't an airport. No need to announce your departure. So, a little less than 4 years after that, we get a report from Variety that Warner Brothers Discovery has shut down the company. Variety's Todd Spangler reports Rooster Teeth is biting the dust after more than 2 decades. Parent company Warner Brothers Discovery, after unsuccessful attempts to sell the unprofitable Fandom Gaming and Comedy Entertainment division, is shutting down Rooster Teeth's operation. This is what the company's general manager, Jordan Levin, wrote in a memo to company employees. He said this: since inheriting ownership and control of Rooster Teeth from AT&T following its acquisition of Time Warner, Warner Brothers Discovery continued its investment in our company, content, and community. Now, however, it's with a heavy heart I announce that Rooster Teeth is shutting down due to challenges facing digital media resulting from fundamental shifts in consumer behavior and monetization across platforms, advertising, and patronage. He did note that the company's podcast, the Roost Podcast Network, is not affected by the shuttering of the company. He says, please note that the Roost team is not currently impacted by this action. The Roost Podcast Network will continue operating and fulfilling its obligations while Warner Brothers Discovery evaluates outside interest in acquiring this growing asset. So it does sound like they're going to be offloading it or potentially axing it as well. Later in the memo, Levin appeared to provide more details on why Rooster Teeth was shutting down. He says, every story reaches its final pages. Rooster Teeth's closure isn't merely an end. It reflects broader business dynamics, monetization shifts, platform algorithms, advertising challenges, and the ebb and flow of patronage. All these converging factors have led to many closures in the industry. While we learn about updates on programming day by day, we will share our plans for shows, franchises, partnerships, and merch soon, and share those updates with teams internally and with the community on roosterteeth.com. Now, this is probably the biggest part of the report. According to Variety's report, the company had, quote, operated at a loss for the past decade. And I believe this confirms, or is at least another piece of evidence that affirms Razor Fist's theory that companies go woke after they go broke and then they go croak. Razor Fist explained this theory after the developer of Saints Row Volition was shut down by Embracer Group last year. Excellent video. Highly recommend you checking out and watching. Razor Fist does a fantastic job of breaking it down, but just going to highlight some key points from the video here. And he says, I submit that the age-old axiom is not get woke, go broke. In the immortal words of my boy Donkey Kong, if you know the words, you can join in too. It's go broke, get woke, ultimately croak. And if 3+ years of far too young actors and actresses dying suddenly has illustrated anything at all to us, it's that if there's anything the entertainment industry knows how to do with alacrity, it's croak. He then used Volition and Saints Row as an example, saying the corpus de jure this past week, Volition Entertainment, an icon in the video game industry, architects of THQ's The Punisher, Red Faction, and semi-satirical GTA mimeograph Saints Row. Until recently, one of the more respected and successful scions of the sandbox trend, only recently reduced to a noxious caca casserole of coastal pinko politics and pronouns. Saints Row reboot bombed so hard it was sponsored by Raytheon, but even beneath that billowing mushroom cloud, Volition's express elevator to insolvency was wondrous to behold. Less than 2 years after insulting their audience for refusing to buy their Bolshevik BS, Volition are officially out of business. He then explains that many of these companies embrace wokeness in order, quote, to make themselves compatible for corpo ESG to score some of that sweet, sweet merger money. He then explains this by sharing a clip of BlackRock chairman and CEO Larry Fink detailing how he manipulates companies. Fink says, well, behaviors are going to have to change, and this is one thing we're asking companies. You have to force behaviors, and at BlackRock, we are forcing behaviors. 54% of the incoming class are women. We added 4 more points in terms of diverse employment this year. What we're doing internally is if you don't achieve these levels of impact, your compensation could be impacted. Okay. And so you have to force behaviors. And if you don't force behaviors, whether it's gender or race or just any way you want to say the composition of your team, you're going to be impacted. And that's not just recruiting, it is development, as Ken said. And ultimately, it's still going to take time. But I am just as much stoked as Ken is that we have not seen more, that we have not seen more opportunities, and we're going to have to force change. So he's clearly has this agenda. Now he's going to do that. And Razorfist used that as an example. Razorfist would then elucidate his point by showing how volition fits into this theory. He says it should surprise precisely no one that after filing for Chapter 11 in 2016, only to be acquired by gaming's very own BlackRock Deep Silver, step 1, go broke. So obviously they were broke. They had to file Chapter 11 bankruptcy in 2016. Volition and the Saints Row series, they're known for got a botched femme sculpt facelift. Step 2, get woke. And then he concludes saying, only to be bailed out by the all-new BlackRock Embracer, who took one lingering look at their year-over-year financials, saw more red flags than Antifa Twitter space, and shipped them off to the glue factory. Step 3, ultimately croak. And I think we can apply this theory to Rooster Teeth, because if they were not profitable for the past decade, they're clearly broke. They then signaled how woke they were with that tweet back in 2020. Now they finally croaked with Warner Brothers Discovery shutting the entire company down. So it's great. It's great. I mean, it sucks for those people that work there, but clearly probably all of them were indoctrinated into that ideology, or they supported it. And if they didn't support it, they clearly sacrificed their principles by working for a company that was pushing that agenda. And at the end of the day, that shows cowardice. So I'm not sad. I'm not sad that a company pushing this evil agenda was shut down. And I hope we see more of it happening, because I do agree with Razorfist's theory. It's be broke, get woke, ultimately croak. And Rooster Teeth is just another example of that, just as Volition was. But let me know what you guys make of this in the comments below. Let me know your thoughts. Remember to always be charitable, but to always speak the truth.